Hey, I'm Pastor Fred. Welcome to the Follow Through. We're listening to God. We're also living for Him. So hit that subscribe button, ring that bell so you can get the notifications of these dropping, and also share this with somebody. And that's really the point of sharing this, right? Of passing on the faith. How can people learn what I'm learning, know what I know, and get the help that I've gotten from God? That's what we want to do. And sometimes that happens intentionally, where we sit down and say, hey, I'm going to meet with you at 10, and you walk through some stuff. But other times it's just when you're on the way to school, on the way to practice, on the way, all right, just kind of maybe walking along. You're going out to get something, and somebody has a question. And so God is going to use all those moments, all those times in our lives. In a sense, school is always open, not just in the building. In fact, I think, as I look at my own life, most of the things that have really stuck in my life weren't just from me looking at an owner's manual or looking at, but it was with somebody showing me. I witnessed something, I saw something. And again, it was connected with words, connected with God's word. But it almost always has that connection. And Jesus is perfect with this every single time. In fact, when you look at all the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you're just never going to see an opportunity wasted. So here you have it. In Mark 9:35, some of his disciples were arguing as they were heading somewhere. So they're just they're traveling, they're doing their thing, and they were arguing about who was the greatest. Right? Something we would never do, right? Unfortunately, we do it all the time. We size each other up, we do all those things. And so Jesus uses that. He knows what's going on in their hearts. He knows what they're doing. And so he sits them down and he calls the 12, right? And he says to them, if anyone would be first, so you want to be the head of the line, right? Do you want to be the one who is the boss of everybody? Well, you got to be last of all and the servant of all. So he takes what's going on in their hearts, he takes what they're arguing about, and he doesn't just say, stop arguing, but he says, hey, when God is in control, in life, when God reigns, it's not about who's the greatest. So I can use this like with my kids, as if they're fighting about who gets to have control of the remote, right? Who gets to have a say in where we go or what we do, and so there's all these various situations that we can use and say and teach a spiritual truth, not just to tell them, hey, behave, but hey, remember what Jesus said? His own followers, his own disciples were arguing about who was the greatest. Like, we're no different, kids. We do that. And maybe you can share something that happened at work where there was a power struggle. And maybe Jesus, in his words here, reminded you of what matters. It's about serving the people in your life. It's about putting other people first. The first, well, they're going to be last. That's what it's about. If you're not willing to take the back seat, if you're not willing to sort of say, you know what, I don't matter here, it's what I do that matters. It's who I help that matters. It's the difference that I make in my life that matters. Not my position, not my power or prestige or any of those things. They don't matter. When all is said and done, he's saying real greatness, because he touches on that in here. If you want to have true greatness, be the servant of all. Be the servant of all. Because that's what it's all about. There's freedom in there. Because then you're free from having to climb the ladder. You're free from having to scratch and claw and bite. And you can treat people not as adversaries or competition, but as people that you love and care about. Wow, how cool is that? All because Jesus did that, this very thing we're talking about. He didn't just say it, oh, the first will be last, and he didn't just say, oh, you got to be a servant. He actually said, I came not to be served, right? But he said, I came to serve. He came to give his life as a ransom for many, and that's exactly what he did. And I pray that truth sets you free today from having to be the greatest, from having to be number one. No, we got something better. we get to be His children, loved by Him, cared for by Him, strengthened and encouraged by Him. So I pray that that makes a difference for you and for the people in your life. We'll talk to you next time for another follow through.